My name is David Wyden, and I work in venture capital at Khosla Ventures. So how I got into venture capital is I had worked at some technology startups, both Netscape and then after Netscape, a company called Tell Me Networks. And both those companies were venture-backed companies. Both of them had worked with Kleiner Perkins. So I knew some folks in common with Vinod Khosla, who started this firm. He had been at Kleiner Perkins before he started Khosla Ventures, and some common friends introduced us, and here I am 12 years later. So what I enjoy the most is working with people that I like, where they're fun and we're trying to solve problems together, and we occasionally solve them really well. That's probably what I like the best, is working with people where we're well aligned in what we're trying to do, and we take problems and mow them down. The biggest surprise in venture is you hear things like how most startups struggle and often don't succeed, and it's hard to appreciate how to get a visceral appreciation of how hard it is for startups. And starting companies is always hard. I often tell people it's somewhere between impossible and hard. So we're trying to help people get it to be just on the possible side of really hard. I think everyone's metabolism and body is different, but as happens with, I think, many people's metabolism and bodies, by the time I got to be about 30, it started mattering, I would say, much more what I ate than how much I exercised. Exercise was important to be in good shape, but had little to do with what I weighed. That was mostly a function of what I ate. And that wasn't true in my 20s, but it did start to be true in my 30s. And then that sort of continued to change. I'd say the importance of diet has just continued to go up each year. I do like chocolate. I'm eating it right now. I've always liked chocolate, and now, well, I'd say most of my life I eat chocolate every day. I'm sure there's many days where I don't eat chocolate, but I'd say several times a week through my whole life I eat chocolate, which is probably true with about, I don't know, half of people. So that's always been true. What changed over the last 5 years is, I would say, my metabolism kept shifting around such that about 2 years ago I was really struggling to control my weight, and I felt like I was putting a ton of effort into not eating what I wanted to eat, and still was not at the sort of body composition I wanted to be. And so I felt like I had to find some changes to make, and I made two, which worked incredibly well. One was eating less simple carbohydrates, like simple bread products, and the other was really cutting simple refined sugars. And having done just those two things for the last 2 years, then I lost about 10 pounds, and I eat way more. I feel like I'm making very limited trade-offs now with what I eat. I eat the vast majority of what I want. I'm not hungry. I eat a lot. And with just those two trade-offs, I'm able to both be 10 pounds lighter and pay way less attention to how much I eat. So it's been great. I found out about good chocolate. I was trying to remember that. I think that around the time that I made this decision that something's got to give, I'm like starving. I felt like I was like eating tiny salads and was hungry all the time, and it was terrible. And I still kept gaining weight. I read things and researched like what could help me. And I do think different bodies are different, but some people's bodies seem to just respond badly to refined sugar. And even if you eat the same amount of calories, it's clear to me it's not just about the calories. It's about where the calories come from. So I thought, okay, I need to give up sugar, or I'm at least going to try giving up sugar, which was sad because I like things like chocolate. And so I think I was researching online, and I found good chocolate that way. And I tried it, and here I am eating lots of it later. And it makes it much less of a sacrifice. It's good, and it's chocolate, and it doesn't have simple refined sugar in it. I have tried other chocolates without that are sugar-free or made without sugar, and I would say so. I like good. I certainly eat the most good chocolate. Most sugar-free chocolate is bad. There are some other brands that I think are pretty good. I end up eating the most good chocolate because some combination of I like it the best. I like the way that it's packaged a lot. But I wouldn't say it's the only one that is good, but I would say it's among the very best, and it's my personal favorite.
Cool. Now, what
I really like these individually wrapped portion sizes. To me, I remember reading about how Howard Schultz thinks about a Starbucks, and that coffee, it's not that the coffee experience, it really is an experience. It's something to look forward to in the morning, and the ambiance of the store and the way it smells and so on is as much a part of having the coffee as the beans. And that's always stuck with me. And I think that that's true with things like, well, with lots of things, including a dessert. So when you get a dessert, it matters how it's served. It matters if it's on a plate with, a little raspberry sauce dribbled by it, or if the frosting's on the top and what's the texture of the frosting. All of those things, different people might like different things, but it's all part of the experience. It's not like you just close your eyes and eat some glop that tastes the same way. It doesn't taste the same then, because the experience, it's a multi-dimension experience of smell, sight, touch, and taste. It really is all part of the experience. So with what I think of as a dessert, that you're eating not primarily for nutrition, but you're eating it because it's a treat and it's something to look forward to, then the experience of eating it and the presentation is part of it. So I like that they're wrapped up in this, you've got to unwrap it, and it makes it a broader experience that's all part of the, it's part of what you're doing. And for me, I don't want to eat, this has calories in it too, and so I'm not trying to eat 400 calories of this. I'd rather eat one or two of them, but get a lot of satisfaction from it being like a dessert. So I get that because it's wrapped up separately like this, and then also I like how it's easy to break it up, like you can see I've been making little pieces of it. So to me, it's just right.
Cool.
So in terms of controlling sugar, to start with me, I don't think of myself as off sugar. I just have greatly reduced the amount of refined sugar. So as you know, there's sugar in lots of things. So I like to eat things like fruit smoothies and things like that have natural sugar in them. And I'm sure I have lots of sugar during the course of a day. I just have really tried to cut the amount of this sort of simple refined sugar, corn syrup, things like that. And even then, it's not a religious issue. You can have some of it. So if there's a great chocolate cake, I'll certainly eat some of it. I just don't eat that much of it.
What about your family?
And then for my family, they eat sugar, and it doesn't. I don't find sugar even that interesting now by and large. Like it's not addictive to me like that. So it's not like it's hard for me to be around it. I just choose to not eat much of it, and it's not a big deal. But I don't have trouble being around it. It's not like a great temptation for me. The main thing I would say, and people could find this advice certainly other places than me, is to try to find what you love and do that. So when I interview people, I don't ask them many questions, and one of the only questions I ask them is, what do you like doing and what do you not like doing? And people tend to be good at what they like doing, and they tend to not end up succeeding at things they don't like doing. And so that's really important to just figure that out and then try to arrange your life in a way where you're spending a lot of time doing what you like doing.
Cool.
Who inspires me? I would say lots of people. You know, like we were just talking about the Phil Knight's book about starting Nike, and that book's extremely inspirational. But that's partly just because I just read that book. Some of the people that for the longest time sort of fascinate me, Colin Powell's definitely one. It's just an amazing life story and really an amazing person. For anyone who hasn't read his first autobiography called My American Journey, I would recommend that. And it's hard to not be inspired by the story of his life.